Hey, this is Kaiden once again from Silver Tiger Media, and I have the absolute bloody pleasure, the privilege to be speaking to Michael Amott from none other than the legendary Arch Enemy. How are you, my friend?
I'm really good. Yeah, just going through preparing for the tour and packing my bags, practicing guitar and doing interviews. So yeah, it's
Of
all back on
course.
now. We just had the holidays off. We did a long 3 month run in Europe and Latin America all in one go, and then we had the holidays off, and now sort of time to get back to it.
Beautiful. I'm sure the holidays would have taken a little bit of the weight off a little bit. And finally, like back on Australian soil, I think the heavy winds with our weather tonight has is kind of conditioning us for how much we're going to be blown away once you're back here in Australia, especially when we see you in Melbourne on February the 18th. How does it feel to come back down under?
Oh, we're really excited about it. It's a treat for us. It's not something that we do all the time. We keep going around. It's not the place where we come every year, and apparently it's been 5 years since we last did it. So we're super excited about it.
Yeah, 5 long years ever since then. I think you were last here in 2018. And of course, that was right before the dreaded COVID-19 pandemic.
Right,
How was
right.
it for all of you guys? How did you cope with that troubling time? Was it difficult to continue that arch enemy journey?
Yeah, I mean, on a personal level, I think everybody dealt with it in their own way. It was not fun for anybody on this planet, right? It was kind of a unique situation
Mm.
where everybody went through a shitty time at the same time. So it was, yeah, I mean, it was what it was. I think we had or anyway planned to have 2020 off. We didn't have any tours booked. So it was just one of those lucky things, where we planned to work slowly start to work on a new record and maybe start recording it, stuff like that. So it was pretty 2020 was actually not that it went all according to plan in a way for Arch Enemy. And then but as we moved into 2021, that year was also doomed, wasn't it? So
How do you prepare for the tour and how do you maintain yourselves physically for the rigors of touring around the world?
I think everybody has their own way of doing that, and I don't know. You just got to so everything in moderation, I guess. Don't overdo anything.
Of
You
course,
know,
yeah.
yeah. And then I just
Definitely.
getting a lot of you know sleep is always a priority on tour. It's hard to come by. It's like you're either sleeping on a tour bus, which is not as nice as being in your own bed at home, or sleeping in a new hotel room every day, or trying to catch some sleep on a flight or something like that. It's just you become the master of naps, I think.
Of course. I'm sure the tour, like those naps would sometimes be absolutely wonderful between shows. Of course, last year you released your newest album, Deceivers, and one track that really stood out to me on that album was The Watcher. And I can't help but wonder, listening to the harmonies between the vocals and the guitars and the disgustingly heavy greatness of all the tempo changes. What are your main approaches to writing new material? Do you often take in new ideas each time, or are there quintessential ideas you've taken with you over the past couple of years?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been doing this for a very long time, putting stuff like this together, and I've been writing songs for over 30 years, and for me, it's just in my blood. It's just a part of it's what I do, and I don't really have for me, it's not very difficult to write these songs, but then it's it's just as long as I have a good idea, then I just get in, as long as I get on the right track, if I get a cool idea, then building upon that, I get excited, and then I just build on, you keep building on more and more parts and sort of finding things that fit in. So it's like it's a very natural process. I don't really overthink it. It's just I try to just channel the metal spirit.
Yeah, of course, that metalhead energy we all seem to have as a collective is fuel enough, I think, guide you in the right direction, especially with writing new material. I actually read that you use amp sims and reamping when recording rhythm parts, but actually prefer mic'd amps in stereo for the solos. What's the reason behind this?
Well, when it comes to the rhythms, I think the amp sims are definitely good enough to, for me to. I almost always have headphones on when I record rhythm guitar tracks as well, because I just like to be, I create like, I always record four rhythm guitar tracks, so it's like a lot of guitars, it's all got to be very, very tight, it's got to sync up very well, and
Yeah,
that's just
absolutely.
yeah, to create that wall of sound, it's got to be ultra tight. So that's a lot of work, and that's I don't mind using amp sims for that, or like we have a Kemper as well, and stuff like that, things like that, tools that have come along now that have come a long way. But then when it comes to recording the solos, I guess, and the melodies, I like to have this more of a I improvise a lot and I play up with the sound. If the sound is a certain way, then I play it a certain way. So it's just I like to then I go totally old school in that phase of things, and that's just a generational thing maybe. But I just prefer to have a big wide open sound with, you know, echo and reverb and stuff like that, and just go for it and plug pedals in, maybe some chorus or some phaser or something, and just create these soundscapes and create these, you know, yeah, that's like kind of more like the emotional content, I guess guitar wise, whereas the riffs and that are just super hard and tight.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Throughout your like established career as yours is, you definitely grow as a musician and sometimes experiment with new sounds. How much do you factor in what is currently trendy when writing new music?
I don't factor that in at all. I don't think about that. Actually. I don't really listen. I don't really follow exactly what's going on now. I mean, it keeps changing, every 2, 3 years there's something different, another trend in the metal scene or whatever, so I don't really, I'd like to just create my own, do my thing, go, follow my path. For what I'm into, I mean, it surprises me sometimes that people still want to listen to Arch Enemy because I don't really follow. I don't try to stay current or anything like that, when it comes to musical ideas. But then when we put it all together as a band and we record it, it just sounds fresh, I think, and people react very well to it. And I think, we've come that far, into our career. We're like 11, 12 albums into our discography. We have our own sound, so people maybe know a little bit what they're going to get, and you just keep developing that a little bit, keep it fresh. And I think, always trying to
Yeah,
add some new ideas, but it's not necessarily, it might be an idea I got from something I heard that's from like the 70s or 80s or something, I'm not trying to, I never hear a new song by a new band and go, oh, we should do something like that as well. I just don't really think like that.
yeah, that's awesome. I think it's really refreshing when you do that, that you keeping your own original ideas and sound and just continuing it on like without really grabbing on to what like metal communities seem to want to have. So that's a massive
Yeah, but I mean,
respect to that
yeah,
idea.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's just natural. It's not something that I've really thought about a lot. I mean, I would think it'd be very embarrassing to like try to if we tried to play like some deathcore or whatever it's called nowadays. I mean, and just it's just I think that we would be embarrassing ourselves. I think I'd rather have I mean, we've influenced people as well. So there are people that are influenced by what I've done. And that's cool, and I've been influenced by a lot of things as well. It's just like. But I think my influences are a lot deeper than what's going on right now. They run a lot
Mm.
deeper. I've been listening to metal since I was a little kid, and so that's a long time now. you know, I've kind of heard it all, in a way. But it's cool. Metal keeps developing. But it's not really my job to make an industrial metal album or a rap metal album. That's never been my job to follow these trends that have gone on. So it's like I just do my thing, and I stick to that. I stick to what I know, I guess, or what I like. And I think that's
Yeah, definitely.
what everybody should do. You should just play what you like. I mean, I really love this kind of music that we create with our journey. So for me, it's a very, very honest. representation of what I'm into, what I like to hear.
Yeah, definitely. I know I 100% agree. And as I said, it's very refreshing to hear that. I feel like all artists should be doing that. I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of Arch Enemy. Could you tell me about the journey from all the way back in the early days of especially the debut album Black Earth, all the way to last year's Deceivers? How does the creation and the reception of the newest album differ from your early days?
Well, it's been a long, long journey. I think I don't think I've got time to talk about everything that happened. But it's been we're 27 years into the career of the band, and it's very, very humble beginnings with the first album on a very, very on a super underground label, and just no support from the music business, as it were, or at all, and just slowly building it up and making a name for ourselves, and Japan was a market that really got on board. Even on the first album, they were on board, and we went there and toured on the first album and on every album since then. We've done a lot of stuff over there. So that was they were early supporters of the band, and I think that energized us to keep on going when nobody else really was into us. And then slowly but surely we built up a worldwide following, and we've had a lot of there's been a lot of like steps up. We stepped it up at certain levels, reached another plateau as a group, but there's been so many of those. It's been a long journey. It was definitely not an overnight success thing. And then to now, of course, we released an album like the Seabirds and all the singles that led up to that, and we have and everything that's happened over the last 10 years it's an accumulation of all the hard work that we've put into it along the way. I guess we have over 90 million views on The Eagle Flies Alone, and that people might look at that and go, that's incredible. It's like one of the most watched metal videos on YouTube. But at the same time, you know, you can't expect that to happen all the time. And also, I think it happened because, if you do good things for a long period of time, people will eventually pick up on that. And I think, with Deceivers, we've made a really strong record. That's it's a part of our discography. It's a part of the natural progression of the band. And the next album might be, a little bit different than that, so just keep on working on it. I'm already working on new music that's, in my opinion, is really exciting as well. So, the journey continues.
I can tell you what, with that being said alone, I think that will get me included, a lot of us really, really excited for what's to come in the future, especially from Arch Enemy. A little bit more on the history, more so your personal history, and correct me if I'm wrong, all the way back in 2006, you actually lent your voice acting chops for the first time for an episode of Adult Swim's Metalocalypse. I feel like these projects are a good way, and these TV shows are a good way of inserting metal more into popular culture. What is your view on how people can do that? How you can bring more masses to the metal industry and the metal community, and how it can be more inserted into popular culture?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, these opportunities just come my way sometimes. I was I was sitting on a flight last year, and I watched a movie on the plane, and the whole, there was of course this sort of intro scene, and then the credits started. The intro credits start rolling, and they're playing War Eternal in this Hollywood movie, and
Mm.
I'd forgotten that I'd signed off because I get all these requests, like they come in, for sync rights, and it's like a deal that's done, publishing deal and stuff like that. But there's a few of those that happen now and again, and then I've forgotten about this one. So it was kind of cool to watch a movie on a plane and see and hear Arch Enemy's music being played where the intro was rolling. So that was cool. So, but things that happen, and I don't know. It's like subliminal, isn't it? You don't
Yeah.
know. It's like you don't know if people really gonna go and find, oh, what's that song? That sounds great. But I'm like that. If I hear something, it's like, what the hell's that? That sounds cool. Then I find out in Shazam or whatever, check it out what it is. So it's cool. But I mean, I don't know how things like that happen. I mean, opportunities do come our way and come my way sometimes. to which would be like more of a mainstream thing, games and so forth as well, of course. Um, but it's not really something I'm focusing on because those things happen organically if people want. And I guess we're getting into that age realm now. That people that grew up with Arch Enemy are now making movies, creating games, they're doing TV shows, they're doing all kinds of stuff, creative things, right? So they might think that, hey, that would be cool to have Arch Enemy in there. So those
100%, yeah.
opportunities, those opportunities come along, but like I said, but it's organic, it's not something that I don't spend any time at all thinking about like that kind of stuff. For me, it's all just about the metal community really, and the writing of the songs, the recording, the producing, the playing the shows and playing the guitar. I don't really think about the marketing aspect of it at all, really. I mean, we have people once we've delivered, we think about the strategies that are presented to us, different ways of how to get the music out there. It seems to change all the time now, how to get the music into the ears and hearts of the fans, right? So yeah, but we have good people working with us on that as well. So I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm not like doing it all by myself anymore. For many years I was, but now I'm not, so it's just we're at a point now where it's more just saying that yes or no to ideas that come in. So I don't really have a lot of input about that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But that's very, very satisfied with that answer.
And I don't think
That's
I
awesome.
don't think
Yeah.
it's important either. And in a way, I don't think it's that important. That I think metal should be underground. I don't want it in the mainstream, really, not too much. Because I
Yeah,
mean, this is an alternative to the mainstream. It's alternative to all that, very premeditated, cynical approach to music, which is, I mean, this is something that's from the heart and soul, and I want it to stay that way.
absolutely. I guess you could say like metal, even other genres like punk and all that, they started underground, more so just for the underdogs or who were considered as the underdogs in society. There was times metalheads were seen as lower to everybody else. So it is good to have
Mm.
that sort of underground to fall back on. I was having a
Yeah, absolutely.
conversation with a work partner of mine about how you've got thrash metal and you've got the title the big four, with that being Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. And we thought the big four for melodic death metal should rightfully be In Flames, Soilwork, Children of Bodom, and none other than Arch Enemy. So leading on from that, where do you see the future of specifically melodic death metal? Like, where do you see that future heading, specifically where from Arch Enemy's point of view?
Um, I have no idea. I mean, I only think about Arch Enemy. I don't think about the subgenres and all that and the little, these things. Um, because I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm not like a flag bearer of melodic death metal, or I don't really think like in those terms. To me,
Yeah,
it's just metal. It's extreme metal, but with a melodic aspect to it, specifically more, maybe more from the guitars and the vocals usually, which is cool. I mean, I've been doing that for over 30 years. It's just very natural to me. So I don't think about it too much. And to all these bands that you mentioned, they all sound radically different.
hmm.
Maybe you can't really confuse. Like Children of Bodom had their style, and so forth. And I think we've reached various degrees of commercial success, I guess, over the years. It goes up and down for most bands, but I don't really see it as a. I mean, those bands are cool. Of course, I know them personally, most of them. Um, but yeah, I don't know what to say about them. I can't remember what the question was.
No, that's perfectly fine. No, that's all good. I love these answers flowing in and talking about this stuff more with you. Look, we've just about reached time up. So, Michael, thank you so much for joining me today. And despite the technical difficulties, this was an absolute pleasure to talk to who I see is a the absolute icon in the metal industry, especially through metal guitarists. So I really thank you for your time today.
I appreciate that. Kind words. Can never get
And
enough of that.
yeah, of course, of course. And we are, of course, so excited once again to see you back down under. It's going to be absolutely a blast.
Yeah, we're super excited about it as well. I can tell you that it's been a long time coming. So watch out. And thank you for the interview.
No worries. Thank you very much, Michael. Have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.